Kia ora. Welcome to Naki News. I'm Callum.
And I'm Logan. In today's stories, a new crime wave is sweeping the country in the form of woolen graffiti. Scientists have invented an invisibility cloak. We help them find it, and the latest in weather around the country. But first, a story that will turn your world upside down.
If you think the world is getting more and more topsy-turvy, it turns out you're right. Builders in Germany have built an upside-down house, and before you think they may have read the plans upside down, they did it on purpose. The wacky abode was built as a tourist attraction as well as being a comment on the state of the world. The house is 23 feet tall and it rests on its roof and has steel beams in the attic. Inside the house there are beds screwed into the ceiling, upside-down wardrobes and an upside-down kitchen and even an upturned bathroom, though it's not known if anyone has tried to have a bath in it or go to the toilet. Normally a house like this would take 3 weeks to build. This one took over 4 months because the workers kept getting confused by the strange angles of the walls. Many tourists visiting the house complain of feeling sick and dizzy just after a few minutes inside. We now cross over to our reporter Jared, who is inside the house. How are you feeling, Jared?
Thanks, Callum. I'm here with the owner of the house, Chelsea and Bailey, and I'm feeling a little upside down. So what made you decide to build this house upside down?
I just woke up one morning and felt like doing something a little different.
What comment do you feel the house makes about the state of the world?
Well, the world seems all topsy-turvy these days, so our house kind of represents what we think of the world today.
What are some of the challenges of living in a house where all the beds, bathrooms and kitchens is all upside down?
We don't live in it, it's a tourist attraction.
How much did it cost?
We think that's none of your business.
Thank you, Chelsea and Bailey. Well, that's all from me. Now back to Logan in the studio.
Thanks, Chelsea and Bailey. Even watching that makes me feel like vomiting. And now for a story that is truly out of sight. Look out, Harry Potter. The world of science is catching up to the world of magic. Scientists in Europe have created a 3D invisibility cloak which can hide objects by bending light waves. It has been found that light can be controlled using special tiny crystals that makes objects disappear. So far, scientists have made small objects, such as coins, disappear, but hope that it won't be long before they are hiding cars, planes and even people. People have always dreamed of making themselves invisible, one top scientist says. The possibilities are endless and we are very excited. However, since inventing the invisibility cloak, the scientists have been having trouble finding it. As soon as we put it down somewhere, it just disappears, the inventor of the cloak said. It appears they are having trouble finding other things too, like their lunch, which they think may be underneath the cloak. What will this invention actually be used for? Hoping to see through the reasons behind the invisibility cloak, here is our on-the-spot reporter, Jaden, with more on this story.
Hello, I'm Jaden and I'm here with Ethan, one of the scientists behind the invisibility cloak. Hi Ethan, and thanks for joining us today. What made you want to invent the invisibility cloak?
Well, when I was at school, I always wanted to sneak out of math class.
Can you show us how the invisibility cloak works?
Not right now, that's top secret classified information.
Okay. What do you think the invisibility cloak will be made for, or used for?
Top secret stuff.
Do you think people will actually use it in the future?
Yes, if we can find it.
That makes things very clear. Back over to you, Callum, in the studio. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jaden. And now, how's this for an interesting yarn? A new wave of graffiti crime is covering the country thanks to an underground gang known as the Midnight Knitters. These wall-waving criminals are covering tree branches and lampposts with small jerseys and scarves under the cover of darkness. Police say the knitted activities of the gang are illegal because the wall crimes are being done on public property without permission. The popularity of woolen graffiti is growing and more public objects are being wrapped up every night. But the problem is growing. Police say the warn that if the Midnight Knitters aren't caught soon, Every tree, lamppost and traffic light in the country will be warmly dressed against the cold. The problem is spinning out of control. They're a close-knit group of dyed-in-the-wool criminals. They are stitching together a case, but it is not seamless. There is no real pattern to the crimes, a police spokesman said today. So far, the criminal knitters have escaped arrest and continue to pull the wool over the eyes of both public and police. We go now to a secret location with our investigative reporter Alexander, who has an exclusive interview with one of the Midnight Knitters gang.
Thanks, Callum. I'm Alexander, and joining me in this top secret location is a member of the Midnight Knitters gang. Hello, Samantha, and thanks for joining us. What led you into the dark underworld of knitted graffiti?
Well, I got really bored of knitting clothes for people, so I started to knit graffiti.
Do you see yourself as a criminal?
No?
Why not?
Well, if you ask me and my group, we'll all say no. Only people who think graffitiing is a crime will say yes.
Apart from trees, lampposts and traffic lights, what else would you graffiti?
Cars, shops, seats, I think that's about it.
How do you cope with the high price of wool?
I spin it myself, of course. I have 10 sheep and a spinning wheel.
Thanks for your time, Samantha, of the Midnight Knitters gang. And we now go over to Lane with the weather.
Thank you, Alexander, and good evening, New Zealand. Let's have a look at tomorrow's weather. Starting in the far north, in Kaitaia, look out for some pretty flash flooding and raindrops as big as your head. If you're going outside, wear a hat. Moving down to Auckland, there will be fair conditions and unfair conditions, but those are the conditions and you'll just have to accept them. There will be no weather at all for the Bay of Plenty. It's taking a short holiday, but it's expected to be back for the weekend. In Napier and Hastings, the weather will be sometimes changeable and sometimes not. We have really no idea what will happen there. In Taranaki, a mild depression brings with it a very dull day with no highlights at all. It will be overcast and gloomy all morning, but things should cheer up by the evening, so don't worry, everything will be fine. Wellington will have another capital day. There will be no wind at all, and the day conditions will be so pleasant they will be actually extreme. In the top of the South Island, Kaikoura can expect to have a good day, meeting friends for lunch, going for a swim and reading the newspapers. But try to stay indoors as the weather will be just terrible. A real mix for Christchurch, which will have some unreasonable rainfall and some moderate thunderstorms and some very angry snow. In the lower south, Dunedin will be frosty, cold, and until the morning, when the sun will pop over for a visit. Everyone likes the sun. That's all from me. Remember, if it's raining outside, that's the weather for you, New Zealand. Good night, New Zealand. Now it's back to the news desk with Callum and Logan.
Thanks, Lane. Well, that's all we have time for. We hope you've enjoyed watching this evening's broadcast.
Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
Until then, I'm Callum.
And I'm Logan.
From Naki News. Goodbye. Ina hora.